Hey, buddy, what's going on? We're back.
Hey Nick, episode 5.
Episode number 5. We got some Daredevil to talk about. Episode 1 and 2 dropped last week. Episode 3 just about an hour ago. And then we got some a little bit of Severance. Episode, I believe, 8
Yep.
from Friday. And I think we're gonna talk a little bit about that new Andor trailer.
Yeah.
But dude, Daredevil. I have been thoroughly in loving the new show. I like the old one too, but episode 1 and 2, great, really, really great.
Uh,
And this last episode was kind of it got me emotional. I was there. It was the trial of the White Tiger, and I was like, come on, man, get it, make sure find him innocent, please. And then
yeah.
they tore my heart out, man.
Yeah, it was kind of an emotional roller coaster of an episode.
Hmm.
Unexpectedly so. Um yeah, I so the first couple episodes, like the first episode, I got emotional like at Foggy's death, like just spoiler alerts, like did not see that coming. And yeah, that was pretty heavy of a intro to the new season, the new series really. And then yeah, good follow up with the second episode, kind of more procedural, more kind of felt more like Marvel shows of the past with like She-Hulk, the courtroom dramas of that and all that, but a little bit better, a little bit more serious of a tone. You have Matt Murdock with his heartbeat sensing in the courtroom, which is always uh, adds to the suspense and everything. So, but yeah, then just not to bury the lead totally, but yeah, White Tiger at the end gets sniped like mid street. Like that was I really did not see that coming. I was like excited to see like what does the amulet do? What does his power, and I don't know, like maybe there's a chance that he'll come back. It's
Well,
no one
it
ever really dies, but
it's gonna be like his niece. Um,
that's
she
right. It was
yeah
a girl character, the
yeah
White Tiger mantle. Yeah.
yeah, and I'm pretty sure it's gonna be his niece. She'll work with like Spider-Man and like the younger heroes, but I did see his death coming. Only when Fisk started doing that little interview, I was just like, "Oh, he's about to do something." And then they started in with that sad Spanish music. I was just like,
Yeah.
"No, damn it!" But you said something earlier. Foggy did die. It should have been Karen. Never liked Karen. But I did see this is that Foggy has been known to fake his death.
Right.
And
Heard that too.
yeah, so that would be interesting. I mean, like, be kind of corny, but still, come on, yeah, I think it's cool that if they did go that and keep it true to the comics that he faked his death. I think it would be a good like kind of cliffhanger or curveball.
Yeah.
But as far as the whole thing is going, I'm trying to figure out why Fisk and his wife are in therapy. It kind of seems like, Fisk got his wife to step down as like the crime boss, and then there's like kind of nobody there, like, leading everybody on. At least that's from this past episode, kind of led us to believe. But I mean, at the same time, she's the one that like, told Fisk's assistant to go collect like $1.8 million from this gang because they like, killed those two truck drivers or something like that. Which again is just like, what were they even doing? I mean,
Mhm.
so um other than that though, I mean I thought when he kicked the crap out of the two cops in the second episode at the very end there, or I think it was one cop and maybe somebody else, I don't know. But I thought he killed that guy.
Yeah.
He threw him and he like landed on his neck, and I thought I thought I heard a crunch. But then like the next episode, this last episode, you saw him in court like with a beaten up face. And I was just
Yeah.
like, all right.
Yeah, that dude he had quite the black eye. Um yeah, just going back a little bit to why Fisk and Vanessa are in therapy. I think a lot of like ultimately we know Fisk is gonna like turn. Like right now he's playing the good guy, but he's gonna have a heel turn at some point. And that heel turn is gonna come when he takes care of Adam. Because remember that we haven't seen Adam yet, at least I don't think, but uh in the first episode, while Fisk was gone in prison, apparently Vanessa hooked up with this guy, Adam. She said, I had needs. He was like, let's forget about that. Let's move on. But he's thinking about that. And that's
Hmm.
a big part of the therapy. Um, I don't know where else or really where that's going with the therapy storyline, but I do think it's interesting. That's Matt Murdock's love interest. So like
Hmm.
some sort of, like crossover there, whether it's holding her hostage to get to Matt or holding, Matt's, vigilantism against her in some way.
Do you
I see that turning out to be a big storyline.
do you think he knew that from the get-go? I mean, he's just like been watching Matt, because I mean, Matt got into a relationship with her, and then Fisk picked her up as the therapist. So, I mean,
Right.
I'm kind of leaning towards Fisk 'cause, like is keeping him under surveillance, tabs on him, and it's just like, okay, let me put this in my back pocket
Yeah.
just in case, like you said, a hostage situation type deal.
Hmm.
I mean, that makes sense to
Yeah.
me. But I mean, apparently she is like some big time therapist, and that also makes sense. But
Yeah. Just yeah, interesting breadcrumbs so far. So like pretty good start to the season.
do you think that because he's told Vanessa when I think they were eating dinner, and they got interrupted, and he was about to say something to her. Um, they were talking, and he goes, I have bigger sights. Do you think he's
Hmm.
talking about like about a Fisk presidency or a Fisk governorship or
I don't know where this is going, man. I really don't, because I want to say it's more gonna stay just mayoral and like taking over New York and
Mhm.
running New York, but President Fisk isn't too far off. There is
Right?
kind of this if there is a true MCU crossover still, which we've discussed in the past, the events of Brave New World, there's an open seat for the presidency. Uh, does Fisk make a run at that after Thunderbolt Ross has his, Red Hulking
Right.
episode? I don't think they're going to go that route, to be honest. I think they're going to keep Fisk more New York. I think they're going to keep him, the big boss of the East Coast. And not to, go off on a total other tangent, but I do see the big possibility being like East Coast Avengers, West Coast Avengers. I don't think they're going to go into like Dark Avengers and, Great Lakes Avengers and stuff like that. Like Great Lakes Avengers is actually a thing. There was like a Michigan-based Avengers team that like kicked some
Protected
butt.
Chicago.
Yeah, basically protected Detroit and Chicago and all that. Anyway, side tangent. I do see them making a distinction in some way between East Coast and West Coast Avengers, and Fisk being the big bad of the East, and then maybe Ten Rings or something because of Shang-Chi being more connected to East Coast or West Coast, sorry. Um, that being
Did
more the big bad over there.
Is this taking place after or before Brave New World?
We don't know really. I mean, I don't know. I assume it's around the same time, but as far as what Marvel has said, they've
Not let us on yet.
yeah, not really laid it out timeline wise.
Yeah. Um, I guess the last thing to talk about is the Punisher symbols the cops have been sporting. I mean, that's indicative of real life, police officers sporting the Punisher.
Right.
you know, logo, and it's like, you know, the Punisher's. You guys are wearing a symbol for a character that's totally against everything that the police do.
The police
Uh,
should be against everything
right,
that he does.
right, right.
Yeah.
Uh,
No, I love how they're kind of taking that head on. They're the dude with the neck tattoo. There was another symbol in episode one or two. Uh, I really like that they're not that they've made the statement so far. I'm kind of, assuming this is where they're going with it, but they're going to make a statement of like reclaiming that, that symbol as, that's not what that's for. This is for, revenge for my family, against, big bosses and stuff, not for like promoting more corruption within a system or something like that.
right.
So I was like pretty impressed that they're kind of taking that symbol head on
Yeah,
instead of burying it.
yeah. That wasn't. I guarantee that was not Punisher at the very end of that capped White
Really?
Tiger. There's no way. I mean, the Punisher.
I
There's
mean,
no way
that's
that was him. That had to
you
have been
saying
like a
that,
cop.
like I should have thought of that. And like the symbol even was even lit weird in like a like neon kind of way. Like that's not Punisher. That's got to
Yeah,
be like Bullseye or somebody.
yeah, it's
But
somebody
that
else.
didn't
It's
that didn't dawn on me at first.
Yeah, I think it's like one of them cops or something like that. I don't know. But it's not. I know it's not Castle. Um, but I hope that they do bring Castle into the next episode. I hope they don't make us wait. I would
No, he's
really,
coming next episode for
yeah,
sure, I
I
think.
would really like to get some Castle in there. That would be great. One of the cool things I did see about what the series is they're gonna have in the series is this character. I guess he's kind of like a serial killer, and
The
he's like this.
Muse, or Muse, I
Yes,
mean.
yes,
Yeah.
yes, the Muse. I was trying to think of his name. I all I saw is that he's got like, I was looking up, I was like, what is this guy? What kind of powers does he have? And he's got like enhanced strength and I guess like speed or something like that.
Yeah,
Um,
he's a sick fuck. Like he's basically like Banksy, the street art, the
yeah,
graffiti artist, but he
yeah,
like
yeah,
does with like human remains and shit. So like
yeah.
yeah, he gets off on like all that stuff. I and like
He doesn't have eye. He doesn't have eyes, does he? I
well
thought
in
he.
in the comics he had his eyes ripped out, but I don't know if they'll go that far with this
Yeah.
series. Maybe at the end or something he'll have that happen. But I was describing Muse to Mandy, my wife, the other day, and she's like, "Oh, so that's why you want to watch that show?" And it's like, "No, I want to watch that show because I I I like seeing, okay, that's the most evil thing that you can imagine. Like, how is Matt Murdock, Daredevil, a blind man, going to stop that, like that evil from happening? That's why I'm into it. And like that's so it's Joker. It's like the best of Joker's chaotic world, against Batman. Um I
Hmm.
see Muse as an Marvel equivalent to Joker. So I'm
Yeah.
really, really psyched to see where they go with it. I don't think they're going to go too gory, which, like whatever. I can go either way with that, depending
Do,
on what they show. But I do want them to make statements, like in not a preachy way or anything, but just like statements on like this isn't art. Splaying people out is not art. Using that symbol for like your own individual, what you perceive as justice. Using the Punisher symbol for that. I see some like common ground in all that theme wise. So I feel like that's where this season is going to go.
do you think we're gonna get actual Matt Murdock and Daredevil costume in the next episode?
I was surprised he didn't show up in this episode, to be totally honest. Yeah, a part of the reshoots apparently were, when they originally conceived the show, it was going to be 18 episodes, and like the first 6 episodes were him. It was like a courtroom drama. And so I think kind of my reading on and they did a lot of reshoots, like they retooled things to be like punchier, I guess, for lack of better terms. It's probably the worst way to put it ever, but yeah. Um, how I'm taking it though is is his name Hector Navarro, the White Tiger?
Yeah, Hector. I
Hec
don't know his last name. I think Navarro maybe. I don't know. But it's Hector.
Yeah, so I think this Hector trial was going to span like the first six episodes. Like it was going to
Uh,
be like, Foggy dies or something in the first episode, and then Matt quits being Daredevil, quits vigilantism, goes through six episodes, episodes of a trial, and then he decides to put on the suit again. Um, I think they condensed that all down into episodes two and three. And so this next episode four is going to be him putting the suit back on because he already had that like rage out rage out moment at the end of
yeah.
episode two. And then this is going to be the thing that kind of like puts him over the edge to like mask cowl coming back on.
How many episodes are in the series now? I didn't even know. I was hoping there was going to be a lot.
So they took those 18 episodes and they split it into two. They were going to do two seasons of nine. So I think this one is just nine.
Oh
So
my
yeah, we're
God.
at episode three right now. We're a third of the way through already, man.
Oh, I hate it when they do that.
I know, I
I
do
don't
too.
like it. I don't like when they do that. They should have
Yeah.
had just a long, long season. That would been better. Cool, cool. So yeah, it's high praise for Daredevil so far. Looking forward to the next episode. But let's move on to the most mysterious show on TV, Severance. We've had two episodes since the last time we met.
Yeah.
Um, it the last episode I freaking loved. I mean, Miss Corbell, you bitch. Like I I love that it was just a straight up Miss Corbell episode, and
Yeah.
you got a lot of backstory. And if you didn't know what they were getting high off of, dude, they're getting high off of ether.
Yeah.
Because
I knew
Lumen,
that I knew that only because well, I remember them mentioning Ether in another episode, but I knew that because of Cider House Rules, that old or not old movie, but 2000s movie.
yeah,
There was like Ether was a big part of that. Yeah.
isn't
Anyway,
Tobey Maguire in that movie?
yeah.
Spider-Man.
Spider-Man. There's a crossover. There you go.
Yeah, but no, like
Anyway.
apparently Lumen used to be a big producer of Ether. And from what I kind of gathered, and it's just like we said, it's a cult, and they raise these people to be their believers. They're like, they're like the doctor said, they're soldiers. And then there's the severed, and then there's the soldiers, and then there's the people that like run the entire thing. But this town, was just a ether uh, producing town that had a lumen factory that just produced like ether. And from the way it sounded like they had kids working in this ether factory. I mean, am I wrong? I mean, it seemed that way.
Yeah, I'm not totally connecting the dots yet on all the things. Just yeah, going back a little bit. This episode, I was kind of like, when is this episode going to end? I didn't
I
like this
liked it.
episode.
I liked it, dude. I
I
thought
did
it was
not.
great, dude. 'Cause it was just like you had that old woman who, like, it's like this. To
Sissy.
me, to me, she portrayed like this, like nun, that ran like an orphanage and had all these children there that lived in this house. But apparently, Miss Corbell's mom, lived with them, or I mean, she was that old
She was
lady
a
was.
dissenter. Like she didn't like believe in all the shit.
No, the nun or the old
No,
lady who?
Miss Goebel's mom,
Oh, okay,
Harmony's mom.
yeah. Because she was saying how, I mean, she was talking all this mad shit on her, when she was dying and when she died. Um, but no, that's what she seemed like to me, was like this head of, like, this type of orphanage or school or something like that. And I kind of thought they were gonna have a sex scene between Miss Corbell and that one guy.
Yeah. He's
But
like, you want to get high?
yeah, it's like, I need to get eyes. She's like, I haven't
That
done
was
this
so
since
weird.
I was a teenager.
Yeah, so the biggest takeaway from this episode is that Harmony Cobell invented the severance
Yes.
procedure. That kind of did blow my mind. Like that honestly did make the whole episode worth it. Like I get why they had to kind of slow things down and have that bit of backstory told through just her perspective and like away from the office and all that. Um, so yeah, that big reveal towards the end that she in her teenage years apparently like devised this plan to sever one's conscience and conscience. I had that right the first time. Um, and so like yeah, like I'm left with more questions though, like why a teenager? Why were these kids working here? What were they actually doing? Were they using the production of ether to control other things, or was the ether the actual end product that they were focused on? I feel like that was a byproduct of some sort.
Right.
Um, that can't producing ether can't be the ultimate goal that
Right.
they had. And yeah, I haven't connected the dots yet, but it's really, really interesting. I love how it's unfolding so far.
Yeah, and the whole part at the end there where, she finally calls Devin back and she's like, Mark's going through reintegration, and she immediately knew it was the doctor. But like, the phone call, what she said, she sounded like on their side, like she's trying to screw over um Lumen. I mean,
Yeah, I
she
think she's turning good, like
yeah.
on the innies side.
So don't you think, I mean, to me, that note, the whole thing about the notebook, it's going to save Mark's life. Because Doctor, I can't remember her name. Um,
Ratson or something like that.
yeah, her reintegration process, she hasn't perfected it.
Hmm.
And the notes she's gonna get from the Miss Corbell's, just blueprints, I think is what's going to help save Mark's life. And I think that she's just gonna become this big key to this entire thing. And it's like I think that with the way they're going to take this is that I think because there's only two more episodes, right? Or three?
I
Two.
think too.
Yeah. I think they're going to like either have her go in and get his, take that promotion or whatever it was that they wanted to put her into, and she's going to get to a place where she could, flip some switches and turn something off or something like that.
Yeah,
Uh,
like the thing that uh yeah, they did at the end of last season where he was holding both the switches open and all that.
mhm,
Um she had that in her notebook, that plan, the whatever protocol is escaping me now. Um but anyway, she had that in her notebook. So like did she devise that? Like did she foresee that, or was that a program?
mhm,
Something that she programmed. Like, I don't know. I'm starting to think like everything we saw as the innies, like, is that even real?
mhm.
Do they just go down the elevator and go to sleep for 8 hours and then wake up? Um,
I
I
think
still
it's
don't know where this is all going, and
I think it's real. I think that because the episode before that was the Gemma episode.
right. Which that
And
I loved that episode, like having that backstory and like
mhm.
the way that was told. Like, yeah, we kind of skipped over that whole episode, but that
Well,
was
I mean,
phenomenal.
yeah, I mean, like we kind of figured out a bit more. We kind of predicted that her and Mark were trying to have a child. Fertility clinic run by Lumen. They obviously got into some program, and it was like Lumen faked her death. Because if I had thought that Mark was in the car crash with her and he
Hmm.
survived, and she didn't. But I mean, apparently she was just in a car crash by herself. That wasn't a real car crash. They just faked it. Um,
Maybe
but but
allegedly.
we did figure out though that the chip can do, it's just not just like one and two, like your outside and your inside. There's multiple innies, like they can give you
That's
multiple
right.
different things. because she's like, yeah, she went into all those different rooms, and every time she was outside the room, she was back to regular Gemma, but when she's inside one of the rooms, she was that,
Hmm.
person. So I thought that was pretty interesting. What I don't understand though is like, when they're trying to escape, like why do they not just like, you know, really like fuck them up? You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
she could have fucked that doctor up and she could have fucked that nurse up. And then nobody would have called Mr. Milchek to stop her when she was going down the hallway. Um, because apparently, I mean, that's one of the things that kind of is mind-boggling to me is that the level of surveillance, like, the level of secrecy that Lumen wants, they're not on top of the level of surveillance. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, I would think they would have like every single movement of these people like under, you know, always being watched. You know what I mean?
Which makes you think like that makes me think like is any of this that's part of what makes me think is any of this real? Because
Uh-huh.
like if any of this was real, like none of this would actually happen the way that we're seeing it happen.
Hmm.
Um so yeah, I don't know. I think we're at a great point in the season though, to have, the penultimate episode next week and then the finale. We know we're getting a season three. Uh I think it ends there after season three. I think this is a perfect, like I've been blown away by the season two of Severance because season one was so perfect and like it ended with that kind of mind blowing, like, oh, they're woken up, like what happens next? What happens next is kind of like a revert back to what we started at, but not really. Like this whole season has been so different, but also very the same. And I say all that to bring up the question to you, Nick. Where do you think where do you think we're going to end this season?
So I think we're gonna
And
get
where are we going to end this season and lead into next season? I'm sorry, should have
I
said.
mean, like I might be jumping the gun, but I think we might be getting some answers on the board. I think that um I think the board is the past CEOs, but what I think is going to be like kind of like a Walt Disney type thing where they're like, cryogenically frozen and they're hooked up, like their brain wave or something's hooked up to like some sort of computer, which is the little speaker, and they're just, waiting to get some sort of clone body Palpatine type deal.
Yeah.
But we still don't know. I mean, like I like the idea of macro refinement, data refinement. Their job is to refine emotions. I like that because that seems plausible. Because
Hmm.
the numbers are emotional based and they're putting it into boxes and stuff. So I like that. But at the end of this season, I kind of want to say there's something about that. But I think Miss Corbell I think they're going to perfect the reintegration. I think that Miss Corbell is going to go in undercover and something's going to happen. I think she is going to get found out. I think she might get killed just because she
Mm.
might be an expendable character.
Oh, oh, how dare you say that? She is
I
not
know.
expendable, but damn it,
Uh,
she totally is, especially after that episode devoted to her.
uh-huh.
She totally has. We've learned, yeah, she's kind of if she goes this route of turning good and helping the innies, or
It's
helping
kind of like
take
that
down Lumen.
it's that character arc where it's a
Yeah,
redemption and then it's the sacrifice.
yeah, but
Like
you got to sacrifice.
yeah, it's there. I mean, it really is there.
Yes.
Irving, go ahead.
Well, real quick, so I could see part of that sacrifice being to get um Adam Scott's wife free. I feel like
Yes.
she is the ultimate prisoner um behind the scenes of all this, and I think she knows that, and it's something about bringing her back to life or creating their child or something, but she's gonna push that forward. I think that's where the season's gonna end, and then the season three is gonna open, and it's gonna be Mark and his wife and maybe she's kind of under severe amnesia. She's a blank slate type thing. She's an innie, but she's in the outie world.
Yeah.
Like I could see that being, that would be a great place to, flip the series on its head for season three. So
Do you think that she had their child? Do you think she got pregnant and had the child like just in Lumen and it's in the child's like in Lumen's care right now?
yeah, I think there's a high chance that this whole thing is centering around a child being created. Like
Hmm.
maybe that's like this is the new IVF procedure. Um, yeah, I really don't know. I think it has something to do with creating life, resurrecting life, and consciousness. But yeah, I totally see Miss Coble. I can never say her name right. Um, Turning good to help them on their journey.
So the only other thing that I kind of predict is that something's going to happen with Irving's character. I hope he doesn't die. I can see him maybe like, discovering Christopher Walken and his husband Fields are no good and just, murking them maybe. I don't know. I can't see Irving. I don't understand. I don't know how they would bring Irving back into the any office. I want to say they're going to do that. It's either that or how they took it from 4 to 3 in this season. They
Hmm.
might take it from 3 to 2 in the next season. Like they take away Dylan or something like that.
Right.
I don't know.
Yeah, we shall see. Um, I think yeah, like I said, there's a lot built up. Like I think it's perfect going into the last two episodes. Like this season or this series is just phenomenal. I can't ask for anything more.
I agree. I agree. All right. Let's end it on our thoughts on the new Andor trailer. We had
Yeah, the
talked.
second
Go ahead.
sorry, yeah, no, the second we talked about the first trailer. The second trailer is much better than the first trailer. I think we both agree. The music being the big deterrent of that first trailer, this one felt much more in line. We had a little bit of the, interview style with Tony Gilroy behind the scenes, breaking
Did
things down.
Did
What's
you
that?
see, did you watch the one where it wasn't the one behind the scenes? It was just like the new trailer, just not the behind the scenes one. Like, and they
I
had
did watch that one too, yeah.
they had Palpatine right at the beginning,
Was that
talking.
real though?
Yeah, that was
Okay,
Palpatine, dude. That was
that's
fucking
crazy.
cool, man. It was only for like, maybe like 10 seconds, but like it was
Yeah.
real fucking cool. Um,
Yeah, I'm psyched for this season two of Andor. I think, we know where it's all going towards Rogue One, but really psyched for seeing K2SO. Saw first glimpses of him in the cockpit with Andor. And yeah, I just love that they're releasing these, four chunks of 3 episodes. I think it's gonna just be a lot it's going to help with the pacing. Season one was a little slower pacing for me.
yeah.
So I think dropping it in that those groupings is going to be really awesome. I think we're getting some heavy stuff.
So it's only going to be 3 episodes a week. Is that what you're saying?
It'll be 3 episodes a week for 4 weeks in a row.
Oh, that's sweet. I
Yeah,
like that. People like to binge a little bit, it gives them a lot of
yeah,
more
4 mini
information.
binges. Yeah,
Yeah, dude. And they're realizing that.
yeah,
One of the things I did like, I mean, like, dude, you know, it just goes to show you, just like we had talked about this, like the vibe was totally off, was totally
hmm,
different from some like numbskull, knucklehead, like, oh yeah, let's put this modern soundtrack on there and do this like cool thing where he walks
yeah.
away and like, hits the button explosion. Like, dude, it's just that's not the show, that's not Star Wars, that's not
Yeah.
Andor.
They
They
were trying
come
to reach. They were trying to reach a different audience
yeah,
with
no,
that.
I don't want to give him an excuse. I think it's some idiot like, being a douchebag and it's there's no excuse for it, honestly.
Yeah.
You gotta know your show, you gotta know your demographic, and that wasn't it. But then they came back and they totally redeemed themselves. I mean,
Yeah, they
yeah,
did. They
the
did.
The new one, it definitely had a different vibe. It had the vibe that was we were looking for, and it should be. So I did feel a lot better watching this. I mean, you know, I think it was the same scene that they showed director
A
Krennic.
lot of this, a lot of the same shots. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. But I mean, it was a different vibe, and it just goes
Hmm.
to show you what a musical score can do to the vibe, and that's the main thing with these shows. Why a lot of these shows have failed is because like the vibe that they set up is just it's trash. When you have a good vibe and people are really into what is going on, like they're really in that sort of scenario, you're bringing them along for the ride. But when you're cracking puns and jokes and having like a, rock score going on that doesn't
Yeah.
belong there. It's just like, come on, man.
Yeah.
I mean, that's why John Williams like made freaking, the vibe of Star Wars. That's
Hmm.
100%, dude. But yeah, I'm pumped.
Yeah, me too. Um, yeah, we got just another minute or so. Any last predictions on Andor before that starts in a couple weeks here?
I mean, I don't. I wish they would have made uh it 2 seasons instead of one.
They
Um,
wanted to.
yeah, just because I think it would have been cooler that way. But I understand. They gotta, um, you know, budget cuts and all that, and stuff like that. But,
I
um,
think Tony Gilroy's ready to move on too. Like he just recently put out an interview, I think earlier today or yesterday about, he's been involved in Star Wars for 10 years now. If
mhm.
you include, from the onset of Rogue One until, uh, the end of Andor's released, like 10 years of your career is a big chunk. And,
Yeah,
creative people in I think he's in his 50s or something, like he probably wants to do a couple other things before retirement.
no, I feel
So,
you. Yeah,
yeah,
I just hope it's just not like we were talking about, packing a whole bunch of stuff into a little bit of episodes.
no,
But
I think they're going to handle it well. I really do have confidence.
I agree. I agree. So. All right, man. We'll reconvene. Cool stuff is coming ahead.
Yeah, man.
And Andor is about a little over a month away. So, all right, buddy. We've been
Yeah,
mostly
well,
Wizard, everybody. We hope to see you again.
see you, Nick.
See you, buddy.